So we've done a lot of work discussing where the bottom could occur, right? Based on previous timing and previous cycles and what we have to work with. The idea that was given to you earlier this year, very, very early this year, around Q1, was that we would be bottoming between October and November, or Q4, right? Q4 runs obviously till the end of December. Now, we are currently in a downtrend, but we're also in that area, in that region that I have specified, yeah? Could we get another leg down? Absolutely. But as time moves on towards January open, yeah? For me, the risk of missing out on a bottom increases thoroughly. And this is something that I'll stick to. See, it's very difficult to hold a idea in your head when the market is moving against that idea, right? Or seemingly does so. So when the market has been consistently consolidating at the same price and everything seems bearish, it's quite difficult to hold the market in your head. And this is precisely the reason why yesterday I sent you out a brief post on the qualities that we're experiencing here. And those qualities denoted that not only have we sustained and are sustaining a lot of hacks, a lot of insolvencies, a lot of exchange problems, a lot of coins blowing up, we're also seeing here that the fundamentals are beginning to diverge from the public sentiment. And to lead on from that, this is the point I'm trying truly to make, is we doubted that we could get another all-time high. Right? There was a huge doubt that we could get another all-time high simply because of how we put in this top here. And I said previously, especially as altcoins were concerned, unless we had another narrative, I would only be looking for max a retest of 60k before the entire market rolls to basically zero, at least in terms of alt terms. Now with the integration of Twitter and crypto, and the fact that people are truly considering a meme coin may have a role in the new Web3 world, and with the emergence of ITOs, initial Twitter offerings, right? It could be something giant for the space that could catapult us to new highs. We also have just consistent bearphoria here. Yesterday, the common sentiment was that they wanted FTT to fail, and people often vote with their money, right? So if people are excited in one direction or another, it's usually because they're holding X position. And right now, all I'm seeing is the market is calling for 10, 14, 15k. For me, the conclusion on this would be a minus swipe below 17 is probably as far as I would give it right now, unless we have something that spreads among the crypto scene that forces even speculators that are holding onto their stuff to sell off. Either way, we get a shift here and we get a reclaim, I will be filling the rest of my positions here, okay? If we get a spill and we get a spill down to a very deep level, I will be filling the rest of my bags there. I think we're in our last inning, and I've said that and I'm going to say it again, and I'm going to say it very clearly. If I'm wrong, that's absolutely fine, but as an investor in this market and as a trader, I need to be certain on what I think. I've seen now quite a few bottoms occur, right? 1 bottom, 2 bottom, 3 bottom, 4 bottom, and I've analyzed throughout history in 2014 what these bottoms look like. And as they're forming, they do not feel like bottoms, right? Either because they're moving so quickly towards the downside that the aggressiveness prices you out of your decision, or because they're so long, right? Here, and they mess around so much that they indicate a breakdown, but the breakdown never comes. And we've seen that time and time again. So for this reason primarily, it's why I want to develop a thesis that is outside the advertised price. Because what price advertises at particular levels isn't what is going on behind the scenes, okay? And I've learned that through history, and this is why I'm holding surefire on the way I'm seeing things. What we're looking to expand our positions in are, again, the two primary narratives following the market. The first narrative is, of course, metaverse, and the second is Web3. So Web3 solutions, Web3 integrations, Web3 layer 1, layer 2, blockchains, and everything and anything that can gamify the user's time, the user's experience. Imagine if a social media platform was gamified. Okay, it would be not only a huge ground for speculation, but it would be the first time in history of the internet where we have mass gamification of a social engine. For example, in the example of Twitter, that rewards users past the landscape of clout for being active, for being productive, for serving the network. A thesis that I came across 6 months ago by Animoca Brands was something that I've started and I haven't been able to get out of my head. I've started to think about more and more and more. Is that people's labor, people's time, and people's effort in maintaining networks is a one-way street. It's usually a one-way street. Meaning, you log on to a game, you spend your time to uphold that game. That gaming company gets billions and billions and billions, but the only reason why it's getting billions is because people are paying for it and they're gaming inside. Now, if these if these gamers left the network, the company would fail. There has been a likening to the fact that time spent in networks is going to be considered more and more as paid labor, because the first major gamification of an online society, whether that's a game or a social cause, will attract people from the normal gaming world, and it will bring people in and get them hooked and get them addictive, because they will be getting paid with value for basically doing what's fun to them. And as the new economy starts to emerge, which we've been very vocal about this, the fourth industrial revolution, meaning that not only will most people lose their jobs, but life should technically, if a tyrant doesn't take over the plan for globalization and robots do what they're meant to, not only will we have more free time, but the money we're given and the money we receive will act in a different way. If metal is working for us and energy is used in a more efficient manner, people will have to work less. But economies don't just go away because people are working less. It's very difficult to imagine because we don't quite know what the future holds for us yet. So I'm still working through that process myself. But what is certain is that if a new revolution does occur where people are not working and we have more resources, right? What I'm trying to say, and I've just said, is that speculative economies and interactions between people on a marketplace, they won't simply go away. Because inherent in every marketplace is seeking to what? Be better than your neighbor. There is a big debate about whether capitalism is a good way to do things or not. But I propose that capitalism is built into every single animal on this planet that seeks for material success. Material success for a dog might simply look like good food and maybe a bunny rabbit to hunt. For a human being, it means getting one up on your neighbor and being respected by your peers, right? Economies are not necessarily built on things that we need, right? Because if you really look at your life, it's unlikely you need everything around you. Once you get $1 million, once you get $2 million, once you get $5 million, the Ferris wheel does not stop. The hamster wheel, does not stop. It keeps continuing. And we believe that there is something more that we actually need, but if you look at it objectively, a human being actually needs very little to live. And most of his or her life is a quest for clout. And people don't want to admit it because it reveals that a lot of us are very shallow creatures. But what I'm trying to say to you is this is why I don't think, even in the face of huge amount of spare time and extra resources, that economies go away. They just get transformed. That's my proposition here. And so with the emergence of the metaverse in lockstep with this, it therefore creates an entirely new world. Something we haven't seen. And if crypto is at the center of this, it's going to be gigantic, right? And the Web3 space is in bed with the idea of crypto. Now, it could be that crypto dies and CBDCs take over everything. But there is certainly at least a narrative. Whether you agree with it or not, whether you find my narrative is specific, whether it's blurry, whether I'm working things out or not, that's not the point. The point is, a narrative such as this, even if it's misunderstood, can be something very powerful. So there will be a massive giant hole for people's attention and time at that point, where the world moves into, quote unquote, the metaverse. And those things, they start to interlock very, very well. So you have crypto, right? Here you have the fourth turning. Well, it's not the fourth turning, but it's the fourth rev, right? Then you have the metaverse, okay? And then here you have how people are due to change their behaviors. All right, and right in the center, you have an economy. An economy runs on people that work for it, right? But if everyone loses their jobs, this economy changes, and it will change through to something I am predicting. There will be a fusion of all four of these things. And in that, crypto, if it continues with this narrative, will stand right in the center. It would mean that a lot of speculative shitcoins, they get recycled as they do every cycle. But if this happens and we're at the center, this absolutely does have the ability to go to an all-time high. So the primary thesis from here for me is, look, I'm committing capital where it feels horrible to commit capital. It's not easy to do so here, and I don't pull any punches on that. It's not hard. It's not easy for me to buy things at this current level because the risk of being wrong is still there, right? But the whole point is if this goes down another 50%, I'll commit whatever I have left and chill. Because at that point, if crypto doesn't bounce, it's pretty much wrecked. If it does, huge returns are available. And I'm willing to be patient in order to not be perfect, right? So I'm willing to be patient here and I'm willing to be patient here. If I'm correct and these four narratives start to emerge and crypto is at the center, at very least, the speculation from this idea could take us back to all-time high, which is a 20 to 50x across the board. If it is even more wild and manages to flip that all-time high, the resumption of the arc that was expected previously will continue. So you saw here from 169 to 20,000, this was a giga rally, right? This was a giga rally. Here, people were very disappointed because we only moved from 3,000 to 6,000. It was a 20x. Fair enough. But there could be an even larger rally if everything I've said in this video falls into place. The main issue for us is that this kind of top we haven't seen previously, and as BTC and crypto starts to go into the future, it starts to become heavier and heavier and heavier, both because the value proposition of the hot air balloon becomes more obvious, meaning that the greater fool paradigm also becomes heavier as we continue the market into 2023, 2024, 2025, right? You need heavier and more explosive narratives to fool the blind. Otherwise, what do you expect is going to happen? Everything will go down, right? You need narratives and more explosive narratives to continue to keep this up, or the top that we saw here that was nothing like we've seen before will demonstrate itself to be either a high that takes us into consolidation for 4 or 5 years, or a true top when retested dumps into oblivion. I am placing my bets. What are you doing?